Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Olivia and I'm super nervous right now because this is my very first video, my very first voiceover, my very first speed build. I am so nervous, but yeah, welcome to my channel. So I decided to build an apartment in this video. I was struggling. You'll see me struggle a lot in the beginning with the floor plan. I usually don't have much trouble with floor plans, but on this occasion I was really struggling to figure it out. I had an idea of what I wanted to do with the kitchen and the living room, but then when it came time to doing the bedrooms, I was just having a hard time figuring it out. But we got there in the end. I did it a little differently from how I would usually do it, but I like the way it turned out. So, yeah, hopefully you guys like it too. I wrote down some little about me facts just to kind of introduce myself. So I have about 10 facts here that I'm just gonna go through. I just jotted them down. So yeah, just so you guys can get to know a little bit about me since it is a new channel. So yeah, let's get into it. The first one is my name. My name is Olivia. Um, you can call me Liv, Olivia, whichever one floats your boat. I usually go by Olivia, but I like the name Liv. I've always wanted to go by Liv, but it never really stuck whenever I was in school or anything. Sometimes people would call me Liv after I asked them to. Like in college, that was my preferred name, and people would call me Liv, and I would forget. I was just so used to being called Olivia that I just wouldn't even respond. Um, but yeah, that's my name. Second fact, I am 25 here in like a little over a week, I think. Yeah, so my birthday's in September. I'm a Virgo, and I will be turning 25, which is crazy because I don't feel like I'm more than like 20 at the most. So yeah, that's my birthday. Fact number 3. I am from the United States. You can probably hear a bit of a country accent. I knew that I had somewhat of a country accent, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I was practicing, like doing like test voiceovers for this video. And I was listening to myself back, and it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I am from the South, so you can probably hear that in my voice. I'm originally from a pretty small town. Actually, a super small town with like 4 stoplights, that kind of small. And whenever I was 10 or 11, I think I was 10 actually, we moved to a much bigger city. So it was a bit of an adjustment, but I've lived here for a while now, so I'm pretty much used to it. But yeah, I'm from a very small town and I really miss it because there's just charm about small towns that you don't really see in the big city. So yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm a nursing student. I actually started school about a year ago, and I'm going to be done within a year and a half, 2 years, because sometimes I have to take less classes, so sometimes I'm part-time, sometimes I'm full-time. It just depends on what's going on in my life and whatever I have to do. But yeah, I am studying to get my RN, and my goal is to work in pediatrics. So I would love to work in a doctor's office with kids, but I really just kind of want to work with kids in general. So if that's in a hospital setting, then that's fine as well. I'm also really interested in labor and delivery. I say that now. I might change my mind before, I graduate and take the NCLEX and get out in the field, but as of now, that's kind of where I want to go. Fact number 5. I have 2 guinea pigs They are really adorable and I love them very much. And then I live with my mom and she has two parakeets and they are incredibly loud. So if I'm ever recording one of these and you hear squawking in the background, it would be my mom's parakeets. I'll try not to record these whenever they're at their loudest. Right now, they're pretty chill because it's almost nighttime. But in the mornings, they are so, so loud. There's no way that I could try to record. But yeah, those are my pets. Fact number 6. I absolutely love to read. It is my biggest hobby. I love to read all kinds of books. Mostly young adult fantasy, some adult fantasy, some romance every now and then. Thrillers has been what I've been reading the most lately because I don't know, I've just gotten really into like true crime and stuff recently. My mom has always been into true crime. She's always loved it. And whenever I was growing up, I was like, Mom, why are you watching that? It's so morbid. How do you just watch stuff about death all the time? But now I am my mother and I watch a lot of true crime documentaries and listen to podcasts and I love it. So now I'm super into thrillers as well. And I also love literary fiction. So yeah, I read a little bit of everything. Sometimes I'll read poetry, but I'm really picky about it. I'm also really picky about the romances that I read. But yeah, I would love to talk about books in these videos, maybe in the voiceovers whenever there's a speed build or something, just to, have something to talk about. Maybe some of you guys are really interested in books as well. So yeah, that's my first hobby. Another hobby of mine is listening to music. I am obsessed with music. I don't know what I would do without Spotify Premium because they make it really hard to live without it. I listen to all kinds of music except screamo, heavy metal, and bluegrass. I would say those are like the only 3 genres I don't really listen to. I'm not the biggest fan of jazz, but there are certain kinds of like lo-fi jazz, I like that. But yeah, I'm pretty picky about jazz. Otherwise though, I like pretty much everything. I listen to country. I grew up listening to country and anything my mom was listening to, so like Hall & Oates, the Eagles, things like that, the Carpenters. I listen to pop music, hip-hop music, just everything. I'd say my favorite genre is probably indie music, though. That's probably what I listen to the most. So that actually brings me to fact number 8. Some of my favorite artists, and I would love to know if you guys love these artists as well, because I love talking about music. I would say some of my favorites that I listen to the most songs by are Lana Del Rey, Harry Styles, Arctic Monkeys, 1975, Sticky Fingers, which is an Australian band, Daywave, Turnover, The Neighborhood, people like that. I love, love, love all of them. Fact number 9 is that I am a huge, and I mean huge, Harry Potter fan. I have to say though, I'm a fan of the series for the nostalgia and the vibes and the story and all of that. I am not a fan of the author. I think J.K. Rowling is a real piece of work, and I do not support her in any way. But Harry Potter, the series, is wonderful, and I couldn't say enough great things about it. I actually just finished rereading and rewatching it. It's like every year I'll reread the books and rewatch the movies. I'll read a book and then I'll watch the movie right after. And so I actually just finished doing that, and it was really great. It took me forever to get through this reread, but it was worth it. My favorite Harry Potter characters are Lupin, Sirius, Snape, and probably Hermione, because Hermione is like a godsend. I don't know how Ron and Harry would exist, how they would survive without Hermione. They simply couldn't, because she is the beauty and she is the brains of the entire operation, and she doesn't get enough credit. But yeah, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I can talk about Harry Potter all day, so I will move on. The 10th fact that I have written down is fall. Fall is my absolute favorite season. I am so excited for fall. I feel like people are getting excited for fall early this year. And I feel like that's actually been happening since COVID, because I don't know, I guess maybe it's just comforting, the holidays, and I know everybody loves fall. So I guess, I don't know, Halloween and Thanksgiving and the winter holidays are comforting to a lot of people. I know for some people they aren't, but I feel like the majority of people find comfort in the fall and winter season because of that. And it seems like ever since COVID, it starts earlier and earlier each year. And I thought it was just me, and I was like, it's way too early for me to be excited for fall. But I've been seeing a lot of people on social media lately getting really excited for fall, and it makes me feel like I have permission to get excited for fall. So I've already dragged out all the Halloween decorations and put them all up, and I'm just so pumped. And I'm really excited to try to do some spooky builds, maybe like a haunted house or like a vampire house or something for fall. Anything, really. Okay, so those were a few facts about me, just so you can get to know me a little bit. I wanted to talk about what is going to be on this channel and like why I wanted to start a channel in the first place. So I've been wanting to start a channel recently. There for the longest time I wanted to, but I was just too afraid, and it would stress me out and I would get nervous, and I was like, no, I'm just not going to do it, because it just seemed like a lot to get used to, like editing, doing voiceovers, just figuring out how to record the game and things like that. It just seemed like a lot to learn. And sometimes whenever I have a lot that I know that I need to do, it's just easier for me to be like, oh no, just don't do it. It's just easier for me to not do it, because I get kind of overwhelmed with all the things that I have to do or have to learn. So I just kept going back and forth about it. Sometimes I would really want to do it, and then I'd be like, no, and I would convince myself not to. But lately, I've just decided, you know what, go on and do it, because what's to harm? I actually watched Sydney Macaretta's video. I had watched it whenever she had posted it originally, and then I rewatched it the other day where she was talking about how to start your own YouTube channel, and that really motivated me. And then also Savannah from SimSav, she has mentioned before, if you want to start a channel, you should just do it. So I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. But I think I want to focus on doing speed builds and maybe cast videos. That's what I'm most comfortable with. I don't really do a lot of gameplay, and I'll get into why in a minute. But I think on this channel I'll be doing speed builds and casts, both with and without custom content. I go through phases with custom content, so sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I like using custom content. Alpha, I really like. Maxis Match, I usually use a mix between them, but sometimes I don't use any at all. So it would be great to know if, when you're watching speed builds, you prefer custom content, no custom content, or you just don't care at all. Every now and then I do like to use CC, and I know, some people like CC builds, so I can do a little bit of both. I've actually been playing The Sims for a long time. I can't even tell you how old I was. I used to watch my sister play it whenever she was a teenager, and I would literally just sit for hours by her side watching her play, and that was probably so annoying. and I feel kind of bad about it now because I had to be so obnoxious just watching her play all day. But I would, and that's how I learned how to play. But that was back when the original Sims came out, and I watched her play The Sims 2, and I actually used to sneak whenever she was gone. I would sneak into her room and play The Sims 1 or The Sims 2 on her computer, and I would just play and not save it so that she wouldn't know that I had been playing it. But yeah, I would sneak and do that when she wasn't home. And yeah, so that's how I learned how to play. And I've been just in love with it ever since I was a kid. I will say The Sims 4 is a little bit different for me. I feel like, I don't think it's a really unpopular opinion. I think it's kind of the general consensus that Sims 4 doesn't have the same charm that the previous games in the franchise had. I know some people really love The Sims 4, and I think there are things to love about The Sims 4 as well, or I wouldn't play it as much as I do. I have to say, gameplay-wise, I prefer The Sims 3. I love the more realistic graphics of The Sims 3, but I think the graphics look better in The Sims 4. And I also think building is a lot better in The Sims 4. So that kind of brings me to the kinds of things that I like to do in The Sims. I mostly love to build. I think building is so much better in this game than it was in The Sims 3. Whenever The Sims 3 was out, I thought the building was fine. I thought it was hard, but I mean, we didn't know anything else at that time. But The Sims 4 has really done a number on building in a good way. There are a lot of things The Sims 4 struggles with, but building is pretty good. There's some things that you're really limited with when it comes to building that I do miss from The Sims 3, but in general it's a lot easier and a lot faster. With that being said, I'm not the fastest builder. I'm really indecisive, and that's part of the reason why. But also, whenever I'm building, I'm also doing a million other things. I'm like listening to music and flipping through songs. So if you see me pause whenever I'm building, it's because I'm looking for another song, or I'm switching shows on Netflix. Yeah, I mostly like to build houses, usually suburban. I'm not very good with modern. I have tried my best to be good at modern building, but I'm just not very good at it. Every now and then I can pull off a slightly decent modern build, but suburban is more of my forte. And maybe it's just because like I haven't seen many modern houses. Just like growing up, it was all suburban houses. There weren't modern houses where I lived, and I don't really pay much attention to modern architecture now, so I struggled to build it, and I feel like whenever I build in The Sims, it just looks plain. And I know, like, modern builds are typically more simple. A lot of them are minimalistic and things like that, but I struggle with that because I love clutter. I love to clutter up my builds. I actually didn't clutter up this one too much, but sometimes I go a little too crazy. I was trying to make it so the routing wasn't too bad, because sometimes I clutter up my builds so much that my Sims can barely get around, and it's really frustrating when you're trying to play. So I try to not do that with this build, but sometimes I do. I think that's why I find it difficult to build modern houses. I don't know how to keep it simple and make it look good without just throwing a whole bunch of decor in there. More recently, I've been getting into Create-A-Sim more. I never really cared for Create-A-Sim much before, but lately I've downloaded CC, like skin overlays and presets and things like that can make your Sims look so much better. And so now I've actually been spending so much time in Create-A-Sim, so I want to start doing some cast videos as well. I used to only download custom content for like building and some mods, but yeah, lately I've been downloading cast CC, and it's a game changer because you're so limited with what the game gives you. Sometimes it's nice to just switch it up with custom content. As far as gameplay goes, I have to be honest, I get bored really, really easily with gameplay. And I think that's just a fundamental thing about The Sims 4. I think it's just lacking in that way, and I don't think it's gonna change at this point. I mean, we're 8 years into the game. I'm actually filming this on the 8th anniversary of The Sims 4, but I just think it's to do with the way that the game was built, and I don't see it changing very much before, The Sims 5 is announced. I have a hard time sticking with families that I make. I will spend sometimes hours in Create a Sim making a family, and then I will spend hours building them a house. If I'm really into it, I usually spend like 6 hours building a house, like a decent sized family home. And then I play them for like 20 minutes and I'm over it. Sometimes I can, go back another day and play a little bit more, but it doesn't really last long. There's just something about it that doesn't make me want to keep playing. And maybe I'm just really bad at coming up with like drama and storylines for my Sims, and that's why they're lacking in personality, but I think a lot of it has to do with just The Sims 4 and the traits that don't really have any meaning, the likes and dislikes that are wonky. Now we have wants and fears that are super wonky. So, yeah, gameplay is not really my strong suit, so mostly builds and cast videos on this channel, I would say. Okay, so I think that's all I really wanted to touch on in this video. I will try to get better at recording and doing these voiceovers and not saying and drawing my words out while I'm trying to think so much. I will do my best to get better at that, but I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will stick around for more. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Caught the jewel.